Good morning, pilgrims, friends, and neighbors. Welcome to our daily devotional. We're restarting after some technical problems on Friday, May the 22nd, 2020. Thank you for joining us. I hope that those of you who were having trouble hearing are able to hear now. I was saying that we are in Acts chapter 1, verses 10 and 11. This is the account of the Lord's ascension into the heavens following his resurrection. And we're looking particularly at verse 11. And it looks like some people are, again, having some trouble. Let's see. Looks like Facebook is having some trouble. Okay, well, my apologies for that. We will... You can find this on YouTube if you're having trouble with Facebook. Let me continue. Men of Galilee, why do you stand looking into heaven? This Jesus who is taken up from you into heaven will come in the same way as you saw him go into heaven. There's some discussion, or quite a bit of discussion, about who these two men are. I think most of us have assumed that they were angels of some sort. But in the time that this was written, it might also be yet another reference to Moses and Elijah. Remember, Moses and Elijah were present at the Transfiguration. So as two prophets who were thought to have ascended directly into the heavens without dying, it would be appropriate for those two to be the ones standing there to say to the disciples and other followers who are watching Jesus ascend, it would be appropriate for them to appear here now and ask, why do you stand looking into heaven? Well, I think there's an obvious message for us. The obvious message is that when it comes to miracles and signs and wonders from God, they are always pointing to something else. Miracles are never done just for a fantastic display. They always point to something else, and I think it's true of this event as well. And that the message is that we shouldn't spend too much time worrying about how to explain what happened here. I also think it's important that when you have an account of a miracle or a wonder from God, it's also important that you allow the work of the wonder. By that I mean, don't too easily simply say, oh, well, God can do anything, so God could have done this without any problem. Because then that, I think, undermines the effect of the miracle. It's supposed to be astounding. That's what makes it a miracle. So you have to maintain the sense of the miraculousness of the event. But also, don't spend your time worrying too much about how to make sense of it or how to explain it, but to get on with what it points to, as it were. And in this case, that's what these two men standing there are reminding the followers of Jesus. Okay, it's time to stop staring at this wonder that you just saw. It's time to get on with it. And I think that's a clear message to us. And that there are also words of comfort there that Jesus will come again in the same way as you saw him go into heaven. And so Jesus will return. And there may be some discussion of exactly what that means, but it is a word of comfort, and I think it does mean that we need to get on with things. We need to get on with working on ourselves, with service and prayer, and not spend too much time debating or giving reasons or explanations for how these wondrous things occur. I'm going to close this morning with a long prayer, so I would ask that you be patient with that, but also listen carefully. It's quite a beautiful prayer, again from the Temple, a Book of Prayer by W.E. Orchard. O God, we thank Thee for the world in which Thou hast placed us, for the universe whose vastness is revealed in the blue depths of the sky, whose immensities are lit by shining stars beyond the strength of mind to follow. We thank Thee for every sacrament of beauty, for the sweetness of flowers, the solemnity of the stars, the sound of streams and swelling seas, for far-stretching lands and mighty mountains which rest and satisfy the soul, the purity of dawn which calls to holy dedication, the peace of evening which speaks of everlasting rest. May we not fear to make this world for a little while our home, since it is Thy creation and we ourselves are part of it. Help us humbly to learn its laws and trust its mighty powers. We thank Thee for the world within, deeper than we dare to look, higher than we care to climb, for the great kingdom of the mind and the silent spaces of the soul. Help us not to be afraid of ourselves, since we were made in Thy image, loved by Thee before the worlds began, and fashioned for Thy eternal habitation. May we be brave enough to bear the truth, strong enough to live in the light, glad to yield ourselves to Thee. We thank Thee for that world brighter and better than all, opened for us in the broken heart of the Savior, for the universe of love and purity in Him, for the golden sunshine of His smile, the tender grace of His forgiveness, the red renewing rain and crimson flood of His great sacrifice. May we not shrink from its searching and surpassing glory, nor when this world fades away, fear to commit ourselves to that world which shall be our everlasting home. Amen. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I hope that you have a great day, and I look forward to having you along each and every morning. Tomorrow morning, John Olson will be leading our devotion, and I hope you'll join him again at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And then our worship service at 10 a.m. Here on Facebook, but also on YouTube and on Zoom as well. So please be present if you're able. And again, I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Goodbye.